You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. And you found good in abundance because you consciously and conscientiously tuned into the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore, known as the Ambassador of Joy. Now, notice I didn't say the Ambassador of Joy. The Ambassador of Joy. Because you know that on this show, the reason you tuned in and you're telling your family and friends everywhere to come and join us is because we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals of life, the reality is you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? You're going to learn a lot about being happy, healthy, and wealthy today from a dear friend and a great guy who's just going to share a lot of good stuff with us. And welcome to, right now we have 516,811 people around the world. By the time John comes on, there'll be over 520,000. And I'm just humbled and honored that you keep telling and urging your friends and family to come and listen. So we're gaining 25,000+ people every couple of weeks. We'll be up to 1 million in a few months. So thank you. And as I urge of you all the time, just share this with 5 people. That's it. You want to share it with 50 or 100? Great. At least 5 people. That way we can touch 2.5 million people with the messages of joy, happiness, peace, and love. So the 3 fundamentals, as you may know, those new people you'll be learning, they are, number 1, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number 2 happens. In this case, good number 2, you go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. Lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the 3rd fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example, the show is carried over the internet. Ask anybody, what does www stand for? And everybody has to do with the internet. And they're right, factually. And however, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is the word, right? WHATA. And a big tip of the hat and a thank you to Louis Armstrong Satchmo for enabling that song, What a Wonderful World, to go viral and not just touch tens of millions or hundreds of millions, billions of people around the planet. Whenever you hear the opening bars of what a wonderful world, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you're going to internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Let me tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine if you can. I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And in the evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed from my neck down, being called a quadriplegic. And it was not from an automobile accident. It wasn't a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and caused me to be quadriplegic. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed on my own for 2 years. I couldn't move. I was 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs from my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Can't walk up a stair by myself. Can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. However you hear my voice, positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I got to tell you, I'm privileged to speak to millions of people with my 2 podcasts, The Joy of Living and Eye on Las Vegas. Millions of people every month. However, I love doing in person. And recently I spoke to 1,127 people here in the Las Vegas area. And I'm telling the story about Barry Shore and seeing miracles in life every day. Some people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours. Have you seen any miracles? And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water, drink, you have food, tea, place, sleep, your family, your friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, you're watching or listening. You didn't. If we have an obligation to live life to the full. Now, I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a couple of weeks ago and she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile? S-M-I-E-L. I thought about it. Smile, sound the same. Why not? I asked her how come. She says, because that would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. What was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. You're going to learn a lot about that because that's John, how he approaches life and how he became so fabulously successful. Causing rethinking. Now, we're talking about a shift in perspective. Now, I've been working with people for more than half a century. And I can tell you, when they come to me, on paper, doing great. And yet when they start talking, I realized they dropped the F in shift and the other stuff was happening. You got to keep your F's in place. You want to shift your perspective just a little bit, and then you can internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. And these are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, how you choose to respond in any given situation will determine your path in life and your trajectory. Now, before we bring on John, I just want to tell everybody and warn you in advance, I use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it because of shock value and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, play, free, gift, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, that's right. FU, capital N, capital N. So after the show, you see your family and friends, put your finger and tell everybody, F you, everybody, and get your attention, add right away, capital N, capital N. Now, some people raise their hands, say, Barry Shore, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. World of the positive, purposeful, power, and pleasant, F-U, capital N, capital N. So before we bring on John in just a moment here, I'm going to urge everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, from now and the rest of your life, because you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Kind is a fabulous word that stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that inspires noble deeds more than I want to share with you than wonderful, amazing, fabulous John Mengelt.
Barry, how are you, buddy?
Welcome. Say hello to 521,917 people around the world.
Hello. Not that many, huh? That's a lot of people.
A lot of people, but we're just having a conversation, you and me.
When you say around the world, what do you mean? Where at?
Okay, this is really interesting, John. I'm glad you brought this up. I am honored and humbled to tell people we have listeners from Nepal, from Baluchistan, from Bangladesh, from India, throughout Africa, from the Congo, from Egypt, all the way down South Africa, throughout Latin America, of course, all over the world, people listening. And they're interested because of what we call the American mindset. You don't have to live in America to have an American mindset. What's the American mindset from my perspective? It's what we call living well. The ability to give to others, to share, to build, to understand that prosperity is really everywhere and it's up to you to make sure that you have it. It's part of your legacy being created by the good Lord. Am I right on that, John?
Yeah, I think you have to make your own legacy. It's not going to be laid out for you.
Well,
you have to aggressively pursue it. And not everybody wants to do that or can do it.
Well, that's why the people who listen to this show have self-selected to say, I want to be here. I'm a winner. And if I started telling you all the things that John Mengelt has done and accomplished, take the rest of the show. I'm just going to give you 3 highlights. You ready? He played professional basketball. Plus, he was a star in high school and college. But he played professional basketball for 10 years. Okay, that's a great data point. However, he was able to do something that not many people could do. He transitioned from playing professional sports into being a professional businessman, a very successful, highly successful businessman. And he maintained that for decades, helping out, again, this American mindset. What I like most about John are 2 different little things here. Number one, he had a nickname. He was called Crash. You know why? Because he played all out. He would go crash against the boards. He'd do everything because he was there to hustle and win. The other thing I love about John is he's married more than a half a century to the same woman. Hello. That is one of the greatest accomplishments in life. To be able to be married, stay married, have family, thank God, grandchildren, and to live in harmony with the person that you love, that is, in my humble opinion, John, the greatest of all accolades that were given to you. Well, let's just jump right in and talk about something that is on my mind and other people's minds because of your background. Said, let's talk about college sports, if you'd be so kind. And the state of college sports is really in flux today, isn't it? So let's talk about that and what it means to have people with NIL, big contracts, money, and how that affects the university that they're going to. I mean, it's a big topic. Let's just jump right in.
You know, Barry, I'm not sure that I understand how it got here, except for the fact that, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, some players around the country got together and wondered why universities were making so much money off athletics, and why they weren't getting part of it. The NCAA had an opportunity to settle that, didn't. Obviously, it got in the court system, and a judge in California indicated that the players must be paid. The pay for play is $20.5 million for your athletic program. The athletic director can purpose that money to any sports he would like. And a lot of them obviously give a fairly huge proportion to football. For schools who did not have football, that's a different number that the judge indicated they had to purpose for athletes. And I don't think I have a problem with that. If you really think about it, that's, let me say, 10% of Auburn's athletic revenues. I don't know another business where the people creating the income are only getting 10%. Well, I don't have a problem with the pay. When I played college basketball, you could not have official workouts from the first day after your last game to 1 month before your next season. So you couldn't have official workouts. Now it's a full-time job. The kids, are there all summer lifting weights. Certain periods of time they can work out with their coaches. Certain period of times they can't work out with their coaches, but their coaches indicate they better. The whole NIL thing's a little confusing to me. I think in the years past, it's just been grab money from alumni and give it to players. And that supposedly has been stopped for next year. Next year, NIL is a little bit different. In broadly speaking, it has to pass muster with the NCAA. It has to pass muster with Deloitte in indicating that NIL money to an athlete is a fair value. Also, the money has to come directly from the sponsor to the player. So in past, that money has gone to collectives, and the collectives have kind of doled it out. But next year, it has to come directly from the sponsor, whoever that has to be.
Okay, let's unpack a few things here because this is sort of inside baseball stuff, even though we're talking about football, basketball, any sports program. Uh, People around outside the United States of America uh, don't even get involved in these kind of things, even though, interesting enough, basketball, let's be blunt, has become an international sport, certainly very popular in China and such, and throughout Europe. American football is still secondary to what they call football, soccer, and such.
Yes.
And soccer gets short shrift. Let's explain a little bit to people who are leaning in and saying, well, what is NIL? To me, nil means nothing. What is NIL?
Name, image, and likeness. That's
Right.
what they put on it. But essentially, it's promoting a product. That's all. You go to a car dealership for 2 hours, and the car dealer may give you $5,000. In the past, it's been a little bit more than that, but I'm assuming now it'll be curtailed a little bit because you have to pass muster with the NCAA, Deloitte, and the money has to come directly from the dealer. Barry, don't miss the point that athletes all over the world have been getting paid even before because they're all considered professionals in their various clubs. So like basketball in other countries for the past 50, 60 years have had anything from 14-year-olds to 35, 40-year-olds being paid to play basketball.
Uh-huh.
So it's, we were always in the Olympics before the dream team, we were playing against professionals. As an example, in the World Games in 1970, I played in a game in the finals against Russia, of which a majority of the guys were in the Army getting paid, but they were being paid to play basketball. So they've been paying athletes for a long time. Even back as far as 30 or 40 years, baseball players would get drafted out of high school, get big bonuses, and then play college baseball. They had to put that money in a trust. They couldn't touch that money until they left school, but they were still kind of getting paid. Sponsors have been paying tennis players and golfers for a long time. So this is just merely, I think, a way that society, or at least the court, said, okay, you got to pay these guys because they're creating a lot of income. And it's just got out of whack a little bit. And now, like most things, we probably got to try to reel it back in. The only people who can really do that is Congress. There's a committee.
Watch out for them.
Yeah, good luck. There's a committee, which is, I forget his name. He's the president of the New York Yankees. And then Coach Saban are working on and with Congress to try to create some laws of how we can organize all this in a fashion where the kids can get paid, they can get NIL, but it's not out of whack the way it is now. And we make sure those kids go to school.
Oh, so this is what I wanted. I'm glad you emphasized this. Let's be blunt. We're talking about very gifted, capable people who are emerging in any particular sport. They're the cream of the crop, and they're capable, smart. The allure of money is so powerful that if they don't use their time when they're young to educate themselves, then it is quite possible, very likely, that the money will cloud their abilities to live life fully after the bubble of excitement of a few years in any particular sport, getting paid well. And now what do you do? Right? This is an interesting dilemma. By the way, you're talking about being drafted out of high school. Well, that was my cousin. I have a cousin who got drafted by the Red Sox when he was 17. Now, he money put in trust and all that sort of stuff. And thank God he went to college, because he was thinking of, he didn't want to, but my cousin, his father, said, you got to go to college at least to do that. So this is fascinating stuff. I'm glad you mentioned about people all over the world. So we were sort of the last ones on the bus. We're going to talk about, don't go away, there's more John coming back with great insights on lots of stuff, because this is an amazing guy who not only played ball, but he was great in business. And we'll be right back after this brief message from sponsors that we vet. Wouldn't have them on if we didn't think you're worthy of your time and attention. Don't go away.
Hey, quick pause. If something you just heard made you stop and think, don't let that moment pass. Because that shift, that awareness, is the doorway to real joy. Barry Shore has put together a free ebook with simple, powerful strategies to help you live in joy every day. Go to barryshore.com and download your free copy now, because one small shift can change everything.
Good day. Beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. If you're good-looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. His name is John Mengelt. Our cup runneth over with good, because he's talking about real life, of what's going on right now with student athletes, these amazing kids who are helping make a lot of money for their schools. And as he says, well, wait a minute, if they're bringing in so much, shouldn't they get paid? Well, the simple answer is yes. Now, how do you do that in an equitable fashion? And make sure, if you can, make sure that these gifted young people actually get an education. Because for everybody listening around the world, education is the route to success. Yes, being gifted in sports, it's wonderful. Education rules, which would be, is that fair to say, John?
Yeah, and one of the challenges, Barry, is, the NIL guy told me the other day I'd probably gotten $3 million a year, but can somebody handle that at age 17, 18 mentally?
No.
And is someone helping them? By the way, we at Auburn used to give tremendous amount of help to the kids regarding taxes and withholdings and all that. We can't do that anymore under the ruling. So all of a sudden you've got these kids with a lot of money. Can they handle it? Let's say it's $300,000, $400,000 a year, right? Do they save any? Who's grabbing at it? Mom, dad, posse? And then all of a sudden, let's figure maybe 4 to 5% have an opportunity to play professionally. Now all of a sudden, this offensive center for the football team, who was making $350,000, is making $40,000 when he graduates from college. He's created a lifestyle at $350,000. Now all of a sudden, he's only making $40,000. How much of his money did he save? What does he spend it on now? Then all of a sudden they get in debt, and then they go to the credit cards and say, okay, I'll just use my credit card to live on. And then they get that 28% a month interest on their credit card. So it's not only making the money now, it's what are you going to do with it? Thinking that I'm probably one of the 95% that aren't going to really make it professionally. And that's the big problem for me. What traumatic situation it puts a lot of these young people in at age 21 or 22 or 23.
This is really important information and transformational thinking that John is sharing with us. You're talking about kids that are 17, 18, who are being courted by whatever, social media and such like that, and a big number. Let's just, like you said, $350,000, $400,000. And let's be blunt, some of that goes to mom and dad. Some of that, okay, so there's a couple $100,000. Well, you can do a lot on a couple $100,000 in terms of creating a mindset and a lifestyle. However, if you're 17 or 18 and thinking, well, not only will I do 400 now, wait a minute, when I play professional, I'll be making $4 million a year or more and more and more. And yet the reality, as John has pointed out, is that by definition, it's 5% of this pool of very talented people that play pro. Because pro ball is an amazing place to be. And even the people on the bench are the 5%ers. Am I right, John?
Yes.
So now you have a mindset created, as he pointed out to us, that says, well, look at me. And they start looking at themselves. By definition, I will always make more money because I am XYZ. I'm going to emphasize again, without education, you will not do anything that's going to help you because you created a false lifestyle. That's the nature of the beast. And by the way, that even goes to the 5%ers. I'm sorry to say it like this, John. It happens to be that's in the news now. So one of the greatest athletes in the history of sport, in this case, the sport is golf, just unfortunately got arrested again for driving under the influence. One of the greatest of athletes ever, right? And it's hard for him to handle success, fame, stuff. That is the nature of the human condition. Isn't that right, John Mengelt?
Well, yeah, and I didn't have to deal with any of that, but you know, Tiger, like Michael Jordan, you know, they're probably more popular in the world at one time than the Pope, which is pretty hard to get. So that's a different level that I can't speak to. I can understand it, especially in the days of social media. It just accentuates it tremendously. But it does permeate down to big time college athletes getting all the adulation they get through social media and, you know, all the news reporting. And then all of a sudden you look around and say, where's everybody at? What happened? I'm still me, you know? Oh, well, yeah, you are, but you're not somebody that we care to hang with because you're not a professional athlete and you're no longer in college. So it's an interesting phenomenon for young men and women to handle, to say the least.
Let's talk about the influence, like because you used those two words, the SM, social media. I mean, let's be blunt. When I was growing up and you were growing up and you were playing sports and you had adulation, you had all that stuff, no matter what, though, it wasn't the world. It was a localized, even though it was, you know, people were, hey, John, yeah, and people, social media today, people think they have millions of followers. What does that do to the mindset?
I'll message you up. Barry, in college, I grew up, I'm in a little small town in Indiana, and I went to school in Alabama at Auburn. But I used to have to call my parents after a game to tell them how the game went. I mean, there was just no media at all transitioning from one part of the country to another. Now, you know, rightfully so, and I watch my grandson's Little League baseball games on my phone. So it is amazing where it's gone, but in my personal opinion, it has caused a problem of communication with the last three generations. What is it, Gen Z and
yeah, it's funny.
Else, you know,
the day
they sit around I've seen them on their phone talking to each other while they're sitting having dinner. And the lack of ability to communicate, which I believe is the most important attribute someone can have to be successful in business.
Okay, I want
ability to communicate.
Yes,
all different kinds of people at all different levels of life.
So let's use this 30-second clip that you just said, because again, it goes with what I call the American mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the American mindset is this necessary skill to be able to communicate with everybody that you meet. It doesn't matter if the person is the president, CEO of a large corporation, or the person's cleaning offices. It's the ability to communicate authentically with real concern, because otherwise you're living a false life. That to me is the American mindset. And I think you've hit a very important note here, John, that part of social media, which by the way is really fun and good. And yeah, John doesn't live down the street from his grandkids, so that's why he's not going to the ball game. But he can watch it on his phone.
Yeah, there's pluses and minuses. Yeah.
Okay, so all those positive aspects. The other issue is, how do you learn how to communicate what we used to call eyeball to eyeball, nose to nose, toe to toe with another human being? Isn't that right, John? I mean, that's business.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that people my age, when we try to text sometimes, I tell my buddies, I say, your text is confusing. Just call me on the phone, will you? But the young people, they can text and they understand totally what somebody's trying to say with all these short acronyms. So it's just a different way of communicating, but I'm not sure that way is going to ultimately help them be successful. In the business world today, people want to meet you face to face, personally, get to know you, and not just over the phone or the media that we're on right now.
I'd like to share, people have been listening for a while already, know this particular story. I'll make it very short. So I grew up in a place called Boston, Massachusetts. And for people outside of America, Boston, Massachusetts, northeast corner, and in the winter it gets cold and snowy, lots of snow. So when I was
good clam chowder.
Yeah, right. And by the way, some of the best sports teams in the world, right, John?
Maybe. Go ahead.
That's a Chicago guy talking. So anyway, it was a big snowstorm. Okay, in those days, big snowstorm was 11, 12 inches, which is a lot. And we had radios, no internet. Called up, you listen, is school closed? Yeah, John D. Runkle's closed. Okay, so I'm 9 years old. So you get choices. You go back to sleep, play games. Or in my case, I enjoyed making money. So I got dressed, long underwear, all kinds of stuff, gloves and things, and go out there. I'm going to shovel snow. I'm going to make some money, right? Because people still have to go to work, all that kind of stuff. So 7:15, I'm out the door. And it's dark, and it's not dark yet, but still it's not full light, 7:15 in the morning in December. And I go knocking on doors and doing things. I learned so much as a 9-year-old doing business with adults, shoveling snow. Some people want to take advantage. Anyway, make the story short, come back about 4:30 in the afternoon when it's dark, and I didn't even stop for lunch, come back. My father was making hot chocolate, and he liked to make it with real chocolate. And he sits down and he says, "My dear beloved son," they like to call me that. He said, "How did you do?" I said, "Dad, I made $55.25. Now, put it in perspective, my allowance was 25 cents a week for doing chores. I made over $55 that day. That's huge money. Okay, but here's the point. Dad said, "My dear beloved son, how do you spell business?" I'm a smart kid, 9 years old. I said, "Business." He said, "That's right. I want you to notice something. The U comes before the I in business. When you take care of other people, you will always be taken care of. It's what do you do for other?" That's the lesson I learned at 9 years old. Now, it took me decades to internalize it. I'm sharing it because that's what you're talking about, John, right? Business is built on that relationship, the ability, knock on a door, talk to somebody, discuss, negotiate, whatever it is. So I want you, please, as one of the most successful business people that I know, making a transition from, wow, this guy wasn't just a great ball player in high school. He played he went to college. He played pro ball. Hello, he was an announcer. He did all kinds of stuff. He made a transition. He owns a business that plays with big name companies. So drop some names and let's drop some wisdom of what that world looks like for business.
You know, Barry, one of the most difficult things I think an athlete has is you practice all your life, but to you it's not really practice, it's just you're out having fun. And that's what makes you great. In business, to transition that, I think a lot of athletes go into business thinking, okay, it's just going to happen because it just happened before. But it really didn't just happen because you practiced all these hours to become one of the best. So unless you have the capability to say, okay, I got to start over again. Okay, I'm not going to be the best right away. I've got to start all over again at the bottom, and the magic word, work your way up to be the best.
Work, the 4-letter word ending with K.
and I think most guys make that mistake. One of the interesting things that happened to me with my daughter, who was very bright, her first job out of college was with Bridgestone. She was a systems analyst. And I talked to her about the third or fourth week there, and she started talking about some of the things that she thought the CEO was doing wrong. I go, hold on, honey. You've only got, 3 or 4 weeks. You got to wait until you learn about the process before you can be critical of anything. So it not only happens to athletes, but it also happens to all kinds of people. You have to work, you have to get experience, which is the greatest teacher, in order to be successful. And too many people try to bypass all the things that's necessary to get them to the top, and then they fail.
So John played pro ball 10 years. He had some great games in college, famous games, 60 points and things like that. You've gone through adulation. You worked your butt off. It didn't just happen. You worked at it. You graduated. You did some sports broadcasting. You decided, I'm going to go to business. Did you have a mentor who enabled you to understand that, John, let's talk about this? Like you just mentioned, there's two things. You're starting over. You're a rookie now. And the 4-letter word ending with K. Work.
I've always been kind of driven. I had 5 brothers, and my dad told me that I was different. I don't know what he meant by that, but I did have a mentor. I worked for a gentleman for about 3 years, maybe 3.5, who I thought was one of the best business developers I'd ever met. I did disagree a little bit about how he ran his business after I was around 3 or 4 years and learned. And that's why I left and started my own business. He and I today are still great friends. We talk about and laugh about it all the time. But that guy knew how to develop business, and he taught me every key on how to develop business, which is make your client your friend. Because friends always want to do business with friends because they know you. And that was a great teacher to me. And I followed that then, and I follow it today. I want my clients 2 things: to feel like they're my friends and that I will help them in any way I possibly can, either in the business or personally. That's very, very important. And 2, I'm in the executive search business, done over 1,100 searches, retained searches. I want my candidates, and I want to treat them the same way I treat my customers, my clients. I think that does two things. One, it allows them to believe me when I say certain things, and secondarily, if they need my help someday or need help in executive search, then they'll remember me and call back on me. A lot of guys in my business, and I think other businesses treat their candidates sometimes different than they treat their clients, and that's not really good. I want to treat them all the same because they're all people. I think those two things have helped me tremendously be successful. Secondly, I train my people to be the same way, and you can do whatever you want, but the amount of work that I've done, if we don't have good people who think like I do, then we're not going to be successful ultimately. Your people are what make you, provide you the ability to expand your business and make you successful.
Well, on that S word, successful, don't go away. We have our sponsors that love us because we're successful and we want you to be successful. More John on the other side of this break. Don't go away because this is riveting. Be right back.
Hey, quick pause. If something you just heard made you stop and think, don't let that moment pass. Because that shift, that awareness, is the doorway to real joy. Barry Shore has put together a free ebook with simple, powerful strategies to help you live in joy every day. Go to barryshore.com and download your free copy now, because one small shift can change everything.
Good day, beautiful bonds with beloved mortal beings and good-looking people. You're good-looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. His name is John Mengelt, and he is one of the most successful people I've been honored to know in my life. And that means that he was successful in everything that he did. As he said, he was driven. He was called Crash while he was playing ball because he was out there hustling, making sure nothing would get away from him. He did it in a way, however, that he always made relationships with the people he played ball with, whether the opposing team or his own team. And he did that in college. He did that in the NBA. He did that, and we built his executive search firm. And we're talking about two words right now that I hope resonate with people, because as I said, around the world, people want to have the American mindset. And these two words are friend or friendship and trust. Would you say that's fair to say? We've been
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I want to make a mention of something before we go on. I'm privileged to say this. John, you and I have known each other, or known of each other, and done some stuff together since 1980. So that's
40 years.
40 plus years, John. So I want everybody to understand. When I asked John to be on, he said, "Yeah, I'll do that for you, Barry." It's so wonderful. I mean, tears of joy come down. And John and I have a mutual friend named Blake Hennessy, and we just, for decades, because that's what life is really about. By the way, John, I created an acronym for your name during the break. Can I read it to you?
If I said no, you'd read it anyway if I know you.
You got it, baby. John, John. So this might help other Johns around the world. John stands for joy opens horizons naturally.
Okay.
And that's what friendship and trust are all about.
It's interesting. I get young men and women here in the College of Business ask me questions, and I said, look, one of the most important things you can do is treat everybody you meet, whether it's a professor, whether it's a former graduate that you run into, or whether it's a fellow student, you treat them like they're a future customer because they're liable to be that. And I've found that a few times already, that various professors and students that I met in school have been my clients. So never know, man. Treat them good.
So I want to emphasize to people, as I said, as my father taught me, the U comes before the I. You're treating people well because that's how you would like to be treated.
Right.
It becomes a natural process. So I said in your name, joy opens horizons naturally. The authenticity of saying, well, if I'm friends with this person, I can make this much friend. That's not how we do it.
No.
What we do is, well, Professor so-and-so or this person. And that creates a process in life that opens doors. Because the good Lord, John shared with me one of the quotes that he really loves, which is very true. God's timing is always right. It might be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Time is beside the point. The good Lord knows what he or she's doing and knows how to run things. John, in your world of executive placement, I'd like you to tell people, I'm urging you, drop some names, some of the companies that you've worked with in terms of placement of people. I mean, are we talking about big companies that people who I know?
We're talking, I most people in my business focus in one function: finance, technology, operations. I would have gotten bored to death if I did that. So Barry, we've done executive searches at one point for the people who mapped the human genome, a company called Solera.
Yes.
To the CEO and president of the Academy of Country Music.
Oh.
So the gamut that I have done is been very broad. But just to name a few: Walt Disney, Glaxo, IBM, Baxter, Ernst & Young, Mercer, some venture capitalists like J.W. Childs and Flagship Ventures, to some not-for-profits, and I basically now help our university at Auburn here recruit deans and various administrators.
So I want to invest a few minutes that we have left in talking about Auburn. And again, people around the world who don't know of Auburn, look it up, AUBURN, a remarkably wonderful university, which really is dedicated to educating people. And when we talk about education, we don't mean a mill where people come in and one end, go another end with a diploma. We're talking about education in the true sense of the word, and creating an atmosphere where people care about each other, care about Auburn as an institution. And I, in my mind for years, always nicknamed John as Mr. Auburn. He cares deeply.
Well, I'm not Mr. Auburn, but because there's a lot of great Auburn people.
There are great Auburn people. You're dedicated to Auburn because you know that this is a place that really makes a difference for young men and women.
I always describe Auburn, Barry, when people ask me, as a place that offers young people a balanced environment. We have excellent academics, and over the last 15 or 20 years, we've improved that academics. It offers a very strong athletic function here, and it's also very good socially. And I think that all three of those factors are very important to the success of a university. We have a creed here. Look it up, read it. It's called the Auburn Creed. This is a very friendly place. I tell my wife every once in a while it's too friendly because people may take advantage of it. Your children or young men and women are safe here. It's holding its stature. We're not expanding the student population. We want to improve the academic ability of the people we bring in. So by doing that, we keep a standard here of who we bring in, not necessarily dependent on SAT and ACT scores, but interviews. We want to bring the right kind of people in here. And I think that's what makes this a great place. Sometimes, like I said, I think we're too kind. we might get a little tougher, but this is a lovely university. A lot of people, and I want to emphasize a lot of people. Auburn, Alabama is probably one of the fastest growing cities of its kind in the country. Almost too fast. We're having to build another high school here. We got 85,000 people. I would say 10 years ago, Barry, it was probably 45,000.
Woo!
So a lot of people are moving back, alumni like me, because it offers a very wide variety of things. You can obviously get involved educationally. We have excellent arts here with 2 places. We have excellent athletics that the cost is very reasonable, although rising. And so we have a nice environment where people are seeking to move to. And I think in a lot of southeastern universities, the same thing is happening. At Georgia and Athens, Ole Miss, and a lot of places that's happening in the Southeast, that alumni are moving back.
So it's a tribute to the Auburn creed that people are attracted and want to live in that environment. And as you said, it's happening throughout the Southeast. There is a creed that people can live
by,
with each other. It's wonderful. John, I'm loath to say the words I'm about to say. We're coming to a close in our time together. I have 3 quick questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Sure.
Number 2, John Mengelt, you only have 80 seconds to answer this question.
Oh, Jesus.
What is your most fervent desire?
Well, that's easy. My most fervent desire is to have my family and my daughter and her husband and my grand twins be healthy, happy, and successful. Pure and simple. That's it.
And live in peace. And number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 525,000?
Sure, I'd love it, Barry.
People. Ready? Let me tell you what HUG stands for. Heartfelt, unlimited, giving. 1, 2, 3. Remember, you're listening to The Joy of Living with your host, Barry Shaw, the ambassador of joy. Amazing John Mengelt, who has given us some insights on how to play well, hard and strong, and be successful in business with all the things that he's discussed here today. And I want to urge everybody to understand something. This show is not about John, great guy that he is, or Barry Shaw, fabulous fellow. This show is about you. YOU. And that's why you tuned in, because you want to be the best you possible. When you are the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony. You create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And I want to urge you to remember the 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, life has purpose. Number 2, you live a purpose-driven life. You go mad. You make a difference, like John. And number 3, uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. As my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. You want to shift your perspective just a little bit. Keep the F in place so the other stuff happens. Remember the 6 most important words in life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Use 4-letter words. Now, of course, the 4-letter words we use live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Love, life, hope, play, free, swim, and tell the world when after the show, point your finger, twinkle in your eye, smile on your face, F you, everybody. Remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. So where'd you get that? So I listen to Barry Short. And let me tell you what we learned today with John Mengelt. So I'm going to urge everybody to the following: a blessing from John and Barry. Go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. John, don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.